Brilliant speed with vibrant service. Vibrant broadband internet.
Yep, 10:30. It's time for the Vibrant New team to enlighten us. Hello.
Hello, how are you today?
Good. How are we doing?
We are doing wonderful.
All right, who we got?
We've got Shane. And
Can you hear me?
Yeah. There he is.
there we go.
And
So-
that is it.
Shane.
You,
I don't
Shane.
have audio.
Yeah.
How about that? And Jane will be back soon.
Jane will be back soon.
Okay.
So yeah, Nathan's here, so I heard him once.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yep.
Perfect. All
You're
right,
live
we're
and
back.
direct.
There we go.
Okay.
All right. Well, welcome to Vibrant New Live. Tomorrow night we do have a dreaming and streaming event, and actually Jane and I will be putting that on in Painesville.
Okay.
I'll talk a little bit more of that towards the end of the show.
All right.
Football season is over.
Thank God.
It seems like, I don't know, it seems like it goes so fast, especially if you have a fantasy team or something,
yeah.
things like that going on. But we turn to spring sports. Timberwolves, which they've been playing already. And of
Little
course,
Olympics.
the Wild. Oh, we got the Olympics as well, sure. Twins
That's a big
baseball.
thing. Yeah.
Twins is, actually, I think they're doing training camp soon. So there's that. And so we're going to talk about...
They already have some major injuries, so
Yeah, exactly.
Twins? Yeah, no, their season's done.
Yeah, right?
They might as well just tank.
Isn't that crazy?
If your ace is out, it's,
What is it with Minnesota and our all-stars and then, getting hurt right
They
away?
get hurt, yeah. Nope.
Yeah, that's too bad. Well, we're going to talk about where you can stream them and what it will cost you.
yeah. So kind of go a little bit of history about how you watch sports. So TV broadcast, between like the 30s and the 70s. Most sports, if there was any sports on TV, were going to be on the three big networks at the time: ABC, CBS, or NBC. You probably didn't get that much sports in that time frame, but if you did, it was going to be through those networks on TV. In the 80s came kind of more cable, and cable networks started to purchase rights to show more sports. You got your ESPNs, your USAs, your TBSs, and more. Now you got streaming providers that are doing the same thing, buying exclusive rights to air sporting events, your Amazon Primes, your Netflixes, and so much more now that are doing exclusive games through all the different sports. Even with cable now, some games are streaming only. You got Mondays for Peacock on the basketball, Prime Video, as they had Thursday Night Football for a long time, and they do baseball and other events. And then Netflix now does the baseball, a home run derby. So you got a lot more and more events that are becoming streaming only, where it used to be cable only. Now it's kind of adapted quite a bit.
Exactly. And so let's talk about the Timberwolves. So the Timberwolves, their official partner for local TV is FanDuel Sports Network. And they're going to air 65 regular season games. And FanDuel Sports is available on DirecTV or Fubo in some of the packages. And then as an add-on via Prime Video. So if you have DirecTV or Fubo, it's included, right? Yep. You can also subscribe to FanDuel Sports Network with a standalone app. And that we'll talk about the cost of that a little bit later in the show here. But the national NBA broadcasts that the Wolves are included in, you'll be able to watch on like ESPN, ABC, Amazon Prime Video, of course, they're showing some exclusive games, and then NBC or Peacock. So if you have Peacock, you can watch NBC games there as well.
Yep. And the Wild are in a similar situation to the Timberwolves. They're both having a pretty good year. Now is a good year to watch either of those two teams, but vast majority of the Wild games are going to be on that same network, the FanDuel Sports North. Used to be Fox Sports North and Bally Sports North. They're going to actually hold 67 of the 82 Wild games this year. So, a great majority of the games, if you want to catch the Wild, are going to be on that network. Then they do have some games now on local TV. You're talking about Channel 5. ABC or Channel 45 have had some hockey games, and then if you're a hockey fan, NHL fan, but you're not a Twins fan or a Wild fan, then you can get the NHL Power Play, and that carries like your out of market games, and you can watch all the games nationwide. And then as far as national broadcasts, ESPN and ABC have some hockey games. TNT does a lot of games. NHL Network will have some games, and then playoffs will be coming up in a couple months, and most of those are going to be on your TNTs and your ESPNs. stuff like that, the national cable channels. But not all sports are FanDuel Sports, as Shane will elaborate on here.
Yeah, and so let's talk a little bit about the FanDuel Sports Network. They're expected to cease operations unless they get rescued after the Wolves and Wild season. So
Really?
Yeah. So after this spring, they could end up shutting down unless somebody comes in and buys them up.
Which might happen. I just think that's why the name has changed so many times. Like Bally's bought them, and then FanDuel kind of bailed them out. Even Amazon has helped. So who knows if something will happen? But that is what we're looking at.
Exactly. And when we talk about Major League Baseball, they used to be on FanDuel Sports as well, but then they lost all their contracts, and Major League Baseball does their own, which we'll talk about in a moment. But we could see fans ending up paying for separate services. So if you're a basketball fan, you're going to have to subscribe to a basketball, their own network or their own streaming service. Same with hockey, and the same, of course, with baseball. You're kind of in that predicament right now. So talking about the Twins, Twins.tv is where we're going to see the Twins games, and that's all in-market games, and that's available through the MLB app. So you'll download the MLB app, and then you just can subscribe to.
I think I can click on it right through my DirecTV.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah,
DirecTV has it as well, so you can watch the Twins on DirecTV. They have their own channel there. Mm-hmm. But if you don't have DirecTV, you could still get the Twins by downloading the MLB app, and then subscribe to Twins.tv through that app. Mm-hmm. And that's going to cost you $20 a month roughly, or $100 for the season, for the year. And so certain Twins games, like the national ones, are still going to be shown on ESPN or NBC Peacock, Netflix, of course, or Fox FS1. So there's still some sports on Fox that they have. But so some of these networks are going to have other games as well. The playoffs, of course, and World Series, not necessarily just the Twins. But if you want to watch...
Yeah, which the Twins will not be featured in this, so you don't have to worry about that. So.
Exactly, like you guys talked about. We would just lose our starting pitcher.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. They won't be featured in anyone's mind this year.
Yeah. For real. And then there'll probably be a lockout next year, so who knows?
I'm guessing they'll win 30 games. So.
Yeah. Well, remains to be seen.
Mm-hmm. There's always a chance. So what's the best way to get it all? We talked about different ways to get the different sports, stuff like that. We talked about the Timberwolves. To kind of recap, FanDuel Sports is going to carry a vast majority of their games available with DirecTV and Fubo or standalone. And then there's the national games on your ESPNs, your Peacocks, your Prime Videos. The Wild, again, FanDuel Sports has almost all their games, some local on Channel 5 or 45. And then the national games, ESPN, TNT, stuff like that. And then the Twins. If you have Fubo or DirecTV for streaming, some of those packages will include the Twins channel. Otherwise, you can get the Twins channel direct. So let's break down some of those costs. We're going to talk about kind of what it would take if you want to get it all. If you live in our area, that's kind of what we price some of this stuff out. Some of the pricing does vary depending on where you live. So check on that if you're not in our area. And every season it might change a little bit. But if you're a Minnesota sports fan, you want to watch the Wolves, the Wild, the Twins, and the Vikings. If you want all those sports, your best chance is probably a provider that bundles it all together, like a DirecTV or a Fubo. DirecTV's choice package is around, I think currently it's around $95 a month. They do run promotions as well, but that includes like your locals, and then the channel that carries most Wolves Wild, the national games. Most is going to be available on there. Fubo has their Elite package, which I think currently is around $85 a month. That has most of those channels. They don't care. I don't think Fubo has the Turner network, so like TNT, TBS, so they're missing some of the, national football or hockey and basketball games. But those are probably the easiest ways to get everything. Again, we talked about some of the direct options you can get. FanDuel has their $20 a month if you just want Wolves and Wild. The Twins have their $20 a month if you just want the Twins. So you certainly don't have to have it all, but there are certainly different ways to go about it. The streaming world, one of my favorite things about streaming is just so much more customization. You're not locked to like one cable provider that has cable by you, and you're kind of at the mercy of what they charge in their packages. You generally have a lot more freedom, and with more competition, generally prices are a little bit less. Like I talked about, DirecTV, about $100 a month for kind of everything we talked about. Fubo, about $85-$90 a month. Where I talked to a lot of people that have traditional cable, and to get all that stuff, we're talking $150-$200 plus. So you can generally still save a lot of money with streaming to get all these sports.
Exactly. And then if you want to learn about streaming, that's what we are here for. So like I said, tomorrow night, we're going to do our Dreaming and Streaming event. And it's kind of funny because when we go over things like what streaming is, and we'll ask the question, for people to raise their hands, have you ever streamed? And nobody raises their hands, right? But then we say, how many people have watched a movie on Netflix or watched a video on Facebook? And then all these hands go up. Well, then they're streaming. Yeah, they just don't realize it, right? So I guess what they really want to know is how do they stream like a cable replacement, and that's what we teach. So if you go to the event tomorrow night, it's at the Green Roof Area Center in Paynesville, which is located at 1105 West Main Street. It's kind of near the Quick Trip on the west edge of town there.
All right.
We start promptly at 5:30. We go for about an hour, depending on questions or whatever. And so if you've ever been wondering about streaming, this event is for you. Now, I know there's going to be some weather, so drive careful if you do head that direction. But that's the way it is, right?
It's still winter.
It's still winter.
Still winter.
So yeah, and I forgot to give a shout out too when we're talking about streaming, especially with sports. The Olympics are still going for a few more days, and if you haven't got the Olympics, I know I have Peacock as a streaming service, and they do like every individual event, or you can watch just a general broadcast. Peacock does a lot of cool coverage on Olympics. I kind of have it on in the background of my house a lot of times. So if you want to watch Olympics, there's still, I think, several days left here. Peacock is the way to get that. So if you have questions about streaming in general, streaming sports in our area, stuff like that, any Vibrant or internet questions as well, give us a call, 693-3231. We have a lot of great information on our website as well, vibrantbroadband.com. As always, if you missed part of today's show or you want to check out some of our many other shows, you can check us out on Facebook or YouTube. Just search Vibrant Broadband. And listen live on Wednesdays here on KLFD at 10:30 every Wednesday when we're on live.
All right. Well, thank you, Jeff, for having us.
Absolutely. Anytime.
Thank you, audience, for listening. My name is Shane.
And I'm Nathan.
Tune in next week for another Vibrant You Live.
Brilliant speed with vibrant service. Vibrant broadband internet. Vibrant broadband internet.